Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a really amazing day. This is your first time on my channel. My name is Sebastian and I welcome you guys with open arms. You guys loved my sugar daddy wanted me to transition story time. You loved it, you loved it, you loved it. I was actually very surprised about the reaction to it and I was like, you know what? Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, bitch. And you guys have loved it so much and you've been asking me so much to do another story time. So I'm like, okay, bitch, open up the trunk of memories you have pressed down and give it to them. So this is my story time. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe if you are new here. And if you are already subscribed, thank you so much. I love you. Yes, thank you so much. I'm super grateful for you. And let's get started, you guys. This story time really hits home, you guys, because it still hurts. Not gonna lie, kind of still hurts a little. But you know what? We'll get through this together. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's go through my messy past, shall we? Anyways, so you guys, I fell in love with my straight best friend. Now, okay. You're gonna see why I'm like this in a second. Okay, so basically, this was in 2000 and I want to say 10. So I worked at, no, just kidding, I'm lying to you. I didn't work there yet. So my best friend had a best friend. So she had a best friend that I hadn't met yet. And I moved, this was in Denmark, right? So I moved from my city to Copenhagen, which is the capital. And I moved in with her because she already lived there. So that was my best friend. Let's call her, oh God, what are we gonna call her? Let's call her, bitch, I don't know. I need a fake name because they watch my channel sometimes. Well, you know what? They're probably gonna know it's them. So, girl, I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna have to say it. And, no, oh my God, should I say it? I don't know if I should say it. Oh my God, I'm freaking out right now. Okay, if I say it, what can happen? What can happen? I'll get a text message. I haven't even talked to her in so long. Okay, you know what? Her name is Jennifer. It is what it is. And you know what, Jennifer? I'm not talking bad about you, girl. Call me. Haven't talked to you in a couple years now. And okay, so I moved in with Jennifer and I was very excited to move in with her because, you know, I was moving to the capital. We were having a lot of fun. And when before you move in with someone, you make all these plans and you're excited and you're like, we're going to drink every night. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So it was very nice, I have to say. And now that I said her name, her best friend's name is Eric, which was my best friend at some point that I fell in love with. So Eric, if you know this, you know what we went through. And I love you, but this is my side, okay? I'm gonna get some text messages, bitch. Okay. So, all right. So Jennifer and I moved together and she worked at a bar/restaurant. And I think she was one of the head waitresses there. So I obviously needed a job and I got the hookup from Jennifer to work at that restaurant, not the bar. So immediately I started working there and I met her best friend, Eric, right? And I met him and he actually was a bartender and the restaurant was like on the second floor and the bar was in the bottom floor. So just so happens that when I lived with Jennifer, I was trying to find my own place, of course. And I worked for like a month or two and I saved enough money and that I could afford to move out. So I moved out and I moved to another place and it just so happens that it was like a building away from Eric. I can't even say his name. Oh no, my body's like, Eric, no, we're not doing this again. Reroute. So yes, Eric, right? So I moved like, I think it was like a building or two away from him. So we were neighbors. And we actually we lived on the other side of the bridge from the restaurant. So the walk was maybe like 15, maybe 20 minutes. So I went to work, whatever. And then him and I were like friendly-ish in the beginning, not like totally friendly, but like, we were there, whatever. And just so happens that he found out that I moved, really close to him. And I didn't tell him, my girlfriend did. So when she told him, he was like, oh, you know what? I actually walk to work. Sometimes I bike, sometimes I walk. Maybe we could go together. And I was like, yeah, sure. That sounds like a good, fun. Because I had evening shifts and he also had evening bar shifts. So everything was going really good for like, 3 weeks. And our walks would be really cool. Like we would just talk about anything, about life, whatever, blah, blah. It was like fun. But just so happens, bitch, that I started seeing him differently. I started seeing him in a different light just because I don't know what it was, you guys. I've just gotten out of a relationship at that time. I was sort of really lost, and somebody was nice to me. He was very nice to me, and he would wait for me in my building. We would walk to work, then we would walk back from work, and it was really cool. So as time went by, I started getting really comfortable with all my coworkers and everything. So we actually all had like a tradition that we would go out like 3 times a week after we closed down the restaurant and the bar, and we would just go out and party, right? So we would go out, we would party, we would be doing our thing, whatever. And it was really nice because I always knew that, I could get home safe with him if I got too drunk or if he got too drunk, whatever. So this started becoming a routine. And in the beginning, it was a really fun thing because we would all party. It was like really, we all got along so well. So it was just like a really fun, atmosphere. Well, just so happens that one night we were out partying and we were all there. We were laughing, blah, blah, ha, 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 DTT, and your bestie right here was a little drunk. And he would get annoyed sometimes if I got too tipsy or too drunk. He would just be like, ugh, and I always thought like, of course, because, he doesn't want to walk over the damn bridge with someone so annoying. Do you know what I mean? So we were partying, whatever. And then there's this one guy. Why did I sound like Britney Spears? This one guy, Dear Diary. There's this one guy who came over and he knew one of my coworkers, and my coworkers was like, oh, you have to meet so-and-so. Can't remember his name. You have to meet so-and-so because, she whispered in my ear, he's gay and he's really, really hot, whatever. So we met, and then he was like, hey, let's get some shots. And I was like, okay. So I go to the bar with him to get some shots, and then when I turn back, I don't see Eric, and I was like, oh my God, he left me. Well, he didn't leave me. He was outside smoking. So when I go back to the table, him and I, the guy I just met, we were talking, we were drinking shots, da, 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 da. Well, bitch, listen, we made out, okay? That is the bottom truth. We made out. And I sort of kind of lost track of like space and time and everything, but I was having a great time, honey. And Eric came and he just was not having it. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna go home because I gotta work tomorrow, this and that. Are you gonna come with me? And I was like, I don't know, like, having fun right here. And I sensed that he was really upset, and I've never seen him upset before. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. But, and then I gave the guy my number, blah, blah, blah. So as we walked by, we didn't say a word until we got to so usually he would literally walk me like 2 buildings after his, drop me home, and then go 2 buildings back to his. Well, not this time. We literally got there, and he turned around and he said, well, I hope you had a good night. Opened his front door and went upstairs, and I was like, okay. So usually when we would work the next day, usually we would have evening shifts. Sometimes we would have morning shifts, but usually he would always write to me and say like, good morning, like, you ready? Like, blah, 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 like, fun little things. Well, I didn't receive any messages this morning. And I was like, okay. So that night was actually a coworker's party. So, birthday, sorry. So we were having a party at the bar we would go to. So I didn't hear from him all day. And usually every time we would have like things to go to together that we were both invited, we would always go together. So I texted him and I was like, hey, are we like going together or whatever? And he was like, I'm already there. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, that's a little bit weird for me. And then I get there and he just ignored the hell out of me the whole night. I'm telling you, what is going on with my... Is it being normal? Okay. He was acting super, super odd with me. He was ignoring me. He wasn't being really nice. He was being very, like, cold and very, like, you know, distant or whatever. And I was just honestly like, I'm there. I'm trying to have a good time, bitch. I'm not, like, do you, boo. So then this girl, and I will never forget her name, and I'm not going to say her name because I'm not going to give her that credit. Plus, I don't think she watches my channel, but I'm not going to give her attention. This new girl started at our job, and she had her eyes out on him, right? Like, she wanted him. So the whole night they were flirting, and I was pissed. And I was like, who the fuck is she? Like, she started 2 days ago. Like, why the fuck is she all over him? Like, I don't understand this. And, like, the one thing that really annoyed me was that, like, he didn't, like, I've seen her when she was training, but, like, I never even, like, you know, talked to her. And I was like, why doesn't he even, like, introduce me? Like, I don't understand this. Like, why are we not sitting together? Like, what's happening? So I got really upset and I got really fucking drunk. Like, I was just, like, so over it. It was like an episode of The Hills. Like, I was so over it. I was like, I'm done. Like, and people didn't realize, and neither did I, why I was so upset. And then my girlfriend takes me, we go outside to have a cigarette. And yes, bitch, I used to smoke. And she was like, Sebastian, what's going on with you today? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm homesick. I don't know what's going on. And who's that fucking bitch? Like, I was so pissed. She's like, Sebastian, why do you care who he's with? And I was like, I don't, like, you know, whatever. And then she was like, wait, do you have feelings for him? And I was like, oh my God. So I started like crying. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. So I started crying. And I remember she took me to 7-Eleven to get a pizza. And we were there, we were smoking, blah, blah, eating pizza. And he texts me and he's like, hey, where are you? And I was like, you know what? I'm with so-and-so and just go have fun, have a good life. Like, I did this whole message that honestly, if I could take back right now, I really would. And he's like, we'll talk tomorrow. And I found out he went home with the girl. So I was like, I was honestly like super upset. And so a couple of days went by or whatever. And then I realized that, you know, yes, I had feelings for him, and this was most likely going to end our friendship that we had because I didn't know how to act around him anymore. So, you know, he tried to make things go back to normal. And then I had like a girls' night, and one of my coworker girlfriends, she was like, well, Sebastian, of course you're confused because he does this, 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 and this. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she was like, listen, everyone at work always thought that you guys were a couple. And I was like, wait, what? And she was like, yeah, I mean, he picks you up. He's always calling you. He's always waiting for you. Even after his shift ends, he waits for you. He's always asking when you're off. He's always he gets mad. He got mad the other night that you were with a guy. Like, who wouldn't be confused? And then, you know, that made me feel good because I'm like, oh my God, maybe, you know what? Maybe he does feel something. So one of my girlfriends, she was like, let's go call them to see, because it was like the girls and the boys, literally. So we were like six girls and me, and then he and like 3 of the other coworkers were at a bar. So we had a girls' night, whatever, and we got tipsy and we're like, we should go to the bar and see what happens, right? And I don't know if they were like trying to cheer me up, but that really opened my eyes because I'm like, you know what? He does do a lot of things that confuse me. So that night, he saw me, he got up, he hugged me, and it was him and I. Like, he would have this thing where he would love to put his arm around me just to like drink or whatever. And, you know, even if he had his arm around me, he would be like, oh, she's hot or whatever. You know, like, he would still be straight, but, you know, I would still be like confused. So I felt even more in love. And then things got a little weird because every Sunday he would go to Okay, no, just kidding. I'm jumping up ahead. So we had one major blowout, and it was a coworker of mine who, um, oh, he was such a mess, but he was so sweet. He was actually from the UK, and he was so incredibly messy, sexy. Like, he was just really, really cute. And, one night we were out. We went out a lot, you guys. One night we went out, and we were like drinking or whatever, and then the UK guy, I don't know how it began, but I guess I asked him, or somebody asked him, like, hey, have you ever like kissed a guy? And he was like, yeah, I actually have. And he's like, hey, Sebastian, they want me to kiss you. And I was like, okay, so we started making out, but then it started becoming like a tradition. Like, every time we would go out, we would make out when he got drunk and when I got drunk. So every single time this happened, maybe like 3, 4 times, Eric would get pissed. He would just get so fucking pissed off. And at the fourth time that it happened, he literally stormed out. And like, at this moment, all the girls that knew that this was happening and told me that this was maybe something happening and something, like a thing, they were like, you see, why is he mad? So we were all like drunk and disgusting and like saying like, he doesn't have to be mad. Like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like, what is this? And then he had this thing where he would storm out of nowhere, and then like his friends would go after him, and he would just be, I'm just like over it. And like, he would get mad and he would be arguing and about nothing. So one night, this major blowout, I went out with my girlfriends. He was outside with his friends, and we went out. And it was literally me and him, and then like our friends. And one of my girlfriends was like, Eric, just fucking tell him you love him or you like him. Like, what is this bullshit? Why do you get mad that he's doing this? He's like, I don't fucking love him. I'm straight. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, then stop doing this to me, because this is not cool. Like, why are we always arguing? We don't have to argue. Like, argue. Every time we go out is an argument. Like, I'm done. So I was just like, I'm done. I cannot do this anymore. I'm done. And the thing is, he would not respect that I'm done. And I told him that night, I was like, you're confusing me with all of these things. You're telling me all these different things. You get mad when somebody gives me attention. I get mad when someone gives you attention. Like, this is not healthy for us. Well, that night we, went our separate ways. And then the next morning, so every Sunday he would go to his parents' house, his mother and stepfather. So every Sunday he would go. He calls me the next morning and he's like, Sebastian, I want to take you to my mom's house. And I was like, are you on drugs? We just had a huge argument last night. And he was like, I want to take you. Let's just go to my mom's house. She really wants to meet you. You've promised, because I have promised in the past that, yeah, let's meet, like whatever. And I was like, I can't do this right now. Like, we just had an argument. Like, and he's like, look, let's just go. She really wants to meet you, and we can talk about everything later. I'm like, oh my God, okay, like whatever. But I was so in love, you guys. Don't judge me, right? So I get ready, and I go over to his mom's house, and I had a great time. Her and I were baking, and he was being so sweet. And, we did have a moment where we like discussed the night before, and he was like, look, we're both really drunk. He's like, I think someone put something in my drink. I think I mixed too many things. And he's like, you can kiss whoever you want. Like, it was just a joke. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, you're not joking though. And I was so frustrated because I'm in his parents' house. Well, anyways, so it became a tradition for maybe like, I would say a good 2 months. In these next 2 months, I would go every single Sunday to his mom's house. And month, maybe a month. 2 months sounds too long. Maybe like a good month. And on the last time I went to his mom's house, it was actually his birthday. So this is where it got really ugly. Those kind of month and a half, it was beautiful. I have to say, like, him and I, we would walk to work together, come back from work. We actually started like running. We started getting really close. Yes, we maybe had a couple arguments here and there, like, but it wasn't anything, whatever. Like, we would laugh about it then. Like, we were so fucking sick, especially me. Like, I was like, it doesn't matter. Abuse my head, like, whatever. You know what I mean? So it was his birthday, and he had actually like stepbrothers, and 2. And so we go to his mom's house, and our thing was like baking. So her and I would always like bake together. It was just fun. So his mom was drinking, his dad was drinking, it was his birthday, his two friends were over, like, it was like good. And his stepfather, he was smoking out in the garden, and I went to go with him, and I was having a moment where I'm like, I'm having such an amazing time. Your family loves me. Our coworkers love us. We have a great time together. Like, why can't, like, what are we, like, what is this, right? And his stepfather said something to me about like, we love having you every Sunday here. I'm like, thanks. I said, yeah, I love coming here. You know, I miss my family, so this is great. And then he was like, we're just a little confused about it. And I'm like, about what? And I was like, in my head, I'm like, please say it so I'm not the only one who thinks it, or like going crazy. And he's like, well, we just don't understand why he doesn't tell us that you guys are together. And I was like, this is what I wanted to hear from somebody. Just get any kind of recognition. Recognition? Bitch, I don't know how to say it. Recognition? Hey, Google, how do you say recognition? Even Google.
That's pronounced recognition.
That one. So I just wanted that. I wanted to affirm that I'm not going fucking crazy, right? So I'm like, thank you. He's like, I said, I don't know what we are. I don't know what's happening, but it's killing me inside because I love him. I was in love with him. And he was sending me always so many mixed signals. You know, the fighting every time that I would be with someone else, taking me to his mom's house every Sunday. Well, so I would say that this was sort of what ended. I mean, it didn't end our friendship, but it ended that little sick, twisted romance friendship that we had. So his birthday went off amazing. I actually went over to his house, and we slept together. You know, we didn't do anything, but we just slept together, in his bed. And I just remember that the next day, so one night was his family's way of celebrating, and then the next night he was having his party. So I actually stayed at his house, and I was like, I'm gonna organize a house for you. Go out, because he used to skateboard. So I'm like, go out, just skateboard, and I'm gonna organize your closet, your house. I'm gonna make it really pretty. So I felt very like I'm his partner. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm organizing a beautiful party for him, this and that. So I color coordinated his closet. I organized. I put balloons. My two girlfriends came to help me, and they were telling me, like, Sebastian, you guys have been doing this for many months. It's time that you guys realize that you guys love each other, especially him. He keeps saying he's straight. When I was like, you know what? Tonight is going to be the night that I have a feeling he's going to tell me something, because last night his stepfather told me that him and his mother and his family think the same. So maybe they spoke to him, right? So I'm like, okay, maybe he's gonna wake up. Well, so I organized everything beautiful, color coordinated, balloons. I got his favorite kind of drinks, blah, 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 snacks, everything. So people started coming over, and I was literally like the host. I was greeting people. I was, you know, making sure they were having a great time. Like, bitch, you would have thought that I was like part owner of that house, okay? And I was like welcoming people, and they were like, they even told us, thank you so much for having us, this and that. Well, anyways, so he had two very, very good best friends. And one of them was my favorite. The other one, I just, you know, we didn't really connect. But the other one, he was just always so nice and funny to me. And so anyways, that night, we're having a great time. And I remember we were listening to Hanson, because he used to love when I would like pretend lip sync to Hanson. Bob, that one. So one night that night we were there, and it was really, really good. And, you know, happy birthday, da 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 da. And we actually ran out of ice. So I was like, I'll go get ice at 7-Eleven. It was like maybe 2 blocks away. But before that, I saw him always on his cell phone. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, no, it's just like people, whatever. And then the best friend that I didn't really like, he was like, is it her? Is it her? And he's like, yeah, it is, man. I don't know what to do. And I was like, who is it? And inside, I'm like freaking out. And he's like, oh, it's just this girl that she works like 2 bars away. We've been sort of talking this and that. And I'm like, when the fuck did this happen? Like, I don't understand. So in my head, I'm like, don't freak out. It's his birthday. So I said, you know, don't freak out. It's his birthday. You don't want to freak out, bitch. Just play it cool, play it safe. You're going to be okay. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go out with ice. I'm gonna go get ice because I need a break. And my girls, like, they overheard that and they were just feeling for me. I couldn't tell them. And I felt so embarrassed and they offered to come with me. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. So as I was walking, I hear like, Sebastian, Sebastian. And it was his other best friend that he really liked, or that I really liked, sorry. And he was like, hey, I need cigarettes, so I'm gonna come with you. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he can obviously tell that I was mad. He's like, are you mad about him talking to that girl? And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I totally freaked out. And I've never talked to him or anyone in his corner about this. I've only talked to my friends, or except his, stepdad. So then I'm tired of this. Like, he's like, yeah, he's been talking to her for some time. And, this and that. And I was like, yeah, but it is just, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't know what it is. And he's like, yeah, me and the other guy that I didn't really like, we've always been very confused too, but we just thought, hey, you know what? Maybe they're just taking their time, whatever. So I'm like, you guys thought about it too? And then they're like, yeah, it's hard not to. You guys act like a couple all the time. And I was like, thank you. Thank you so much. So I started to have sort of like a breakdown and I was feeling so low. And I remember we got the ice, we got the cigarettes, and he was like super fucking tall. He was maybe like 6'4", 6'5". And I'm like 5'6", 5'7". So we were walking in this alley and then he was like, Sebastian, look, put down the ice. And I started like, not like hysterically crying, but just like tears were running down. And he's like, look, he is he's bullshit. He doesn't understand. I think he's in denial, but you need someone who can take reins and say, you know what? I know what I have in front of me, this and that. And I'm like, well, maybe he is just straight. And he's like, yeah, he could be straight, but he doesn't act it with you. Like, this is too much. Like, getting mad over you with other boys. Da, 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 da. Like, he's seen these things. So he says, you know what, Sebastian? I think you need this. He pushes me against the wall in the alley and he starts making out with me. Like, bitch, I'm not making out. He started. And he's like, and he's super fucking tall. So he's leaning down and he started kissing me and this and that. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what is happening? But inside, to be very honest with you, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, you go with her, I'll go with your best friend. Do you know what I mean? I felt petty and I felt shady. And so we kissed a little bit and then I was like, I was expecting everything, but that I was not expecting. And he's like, I think you just needed to calm down a bit. And I was like, okay. So on the walk over, I see him on his phone and I actually saw the name Eric. And I was like, oh my God. So when we got there, I was like, what? And he's like, no, it's just, he asked like, he asked if we brought something, whatever. So I ignored it. But when we got there, he was pissed. People were leaving the party, okay? People were leaving the party. Well, not like maybe like 3 people. They were leaving the party. He was just like, he was so fucking pissed. He was so annoyed. He turned off the music. He's like, party's over. Da, da, da. So the guy actually texted him and said, hey, just so you know, before you find out from anyone, because he probably knew that I was going to tell like my friends, before you find out, we kissed. And then he was so pissed, right? Eric, so fucking mad. And he started telling everyone like, party's over, like blah, blah, blah. And then he had like a switch, which was so weird. He went to the kitchen, came back and he said, fuck it, let's fucking get drunk, whatever. And I was like, I couldn't. So I went up to him like, hey, can we talk or whatever? And he was like, I want to talk to everyone but you. I need you to just like go. And I was like, Eric, you don't mean that. And he's like, go. And I was like, well, okay. As I was leaving, I guess it was her because I was coming down the stairs and she was coming up the stairs. And then I saw he opened the door and hugged her. And I was like, oh, okay. Again, you are mind fucking me and it's disgusting. So the next day, I got a text message from him and he said, hey, come over. And I went over and we sat on the couch and I was like, this is getting very toxic. And he's like, I don't know what goes over me. I don't know why I get mad. He finally said, I don't know why I get mad that when I see you with someone else or I hear that you've been with anyone or that someone likes, I don't know why I get mad. And I was like, well, maybe because you love me or you like me. Maybe you have feelings for me, Eric. I don't know. And he's like, but I'm straight. Like, I don't, Sebastian. I really don't. And I was like, okay, well, if you don't have feelings for me, I'm going to tell you I have feelings for you. I have feelings for you. And this is not getting good. This is not getting this is not good for me. I said, even your fucking parents think we have something going on. He's like, yeah, they told me. And I was like, so what are we gonna do? And he's like, I just think we should maybe like, have some space. And I was like, I think that's the best thing because you and I, we're just toxic. And this will never, I mean, we can never have a friendship because I said, because you are confused and you are in denial. Everybody sees it. Everybody feels it. You are in denial. So I got up and he hugged me. He asked me to stay for lunch and I said no. And then we did, I mean, of course we worked together, we saw each other, but things changed drastically because I couldn't do it anymore. It was like maybe 6-7 months of this shit, you know what I mean? And I was confused, and you know what? I didn't want to waste time anymore. I wanted to actually be with a boy who I liked. And if you're gonna ask about why his best friend kissed me, I think his best friend kissed me just because he saw that I was really upset. I don't think he wanted to stir the pot. I don't think he had feelings for me. I just think he just wanted to kind of calm me down a bit. I don't know, but whatever. Hey, whatever. It's not every day you can say you kissed I think he went to the Olympics because of swimming. So, it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, things changed drastically with us. And I mean, we stayed in contact after I moved to Colombia. We stayed in contact very, very, very little. To this day, I really haven't talked to him in maybe like a year and a half. And I think it's better that way. He has his family now and I'm happy for him. But that time in my life, I will always ask, had he maybe looked in, what would have happened? Because we were the couple. We were a couple. We just didn't kiss, make out, or have sex, but we were a couple. We would even, I told you guys, when we would watch movies, when we would be anywhere, he would always have his arm around me, So wouldn't you be confused? I think that's one of those stories that I still get kind of upset to this day because I'm like, I wonder really what he thought in his mind. Do you know what I mean? So anyways, you guys, that was that story time where I fell in love with my best friend. I really want to know what you guys think of it. Let me know in the comments below. If you want more story times, please let me know. I would love to make them for you because, bitch, I have gotten myself into a lot of things and I have dealt with a lot of things that I would love to share with you guys because I think it's therapeutic. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you love this, please share it. Help me get to 8,000 subscribers before New Year's. And I love you guys so much. And I'm so grateful that you are enjoying getting to know me and my past and everything because I just think it makes us a lot closer. So I love you guys so much. Take care and bye.